Hi, everybody. I hope you're having a good evening so far. I am back and ready to study. If you were here earlier, I was working on, what was I working on? Partnerships and corporations. But I realized I think that one is a review live and I need to study by myself. So I aborted that mission for corporations and went to Civ Pro or civil procedure. Which I think is super useful if you are watching a lot of like trials or cases on YouTube, because knowing what the procedure is for civil cases is very important and it'll help you understand what's going on a lot better. So if you were here earlier, I completely aborted my mission on corporations. I was definitely like, this is a Kelly Cal or LSAT machine learns by themselves subject, and then I'll review on stream. So I figure we'll do Civ Pro because this is a class that you're required to take your 1L year, your first year. So a lot of this will be refreshing for me. Hopefully, well, we'll see. It'll be refreshing, and um, I mean, Civ Pro comes up so much just in your classes, and over this like last summer I worked at a firm, so um we had to do lots of Civ Pro things. Okay, so I actually think this will be really good if you're into watching like trials and stuff. Okay, so let's talk about jurisdiction. Okay, and anytime you see procedure in legal things, it's talking about literally like the procedure of the court. So it's talking about like what motion do you file, when can you file it, things like that. So this is going to be a lot of rules and rules about when you can file things like that. Hey, Mari. Oh, it's so good to see you. I'm happy you're here and thanks for the good luck. I definitely need it. I think this is a really good hack to get me like motivated to study, because the studying alone is just not fun um, at all. Okay, so let's talk about jurisdiction. So there's different types of jurisdiction. The one we'll talk about first is subject matter jurisdiction. Okay, and this jurisdiction, as it sounds, is about the subject matter of the case. So a lot of times you hear jurisdiction in terms of like geography, like, oh, like this is outside of my jurisdiction, like outside of this county or something. But there's another part of jurisdiction that refers to what the case is about. So subject matter jurisdiction, like I said, is about the content of the case. So um the five more most, well, sorry, let me look at, um okay. um Got it. Okay, so the most commonly tested, well, let's just go do this. The first type of subject matter jurisdiction we'll go over is federal question jurisdiction. Okay, and this means this has the word federal in it, so what goes to the federal courts. I think that's going to be the easiest way to start out. Okay, so um, state and federal courts um, have jurisdiction of federal question claims. Um, Sorry, I'm reading and thinking at the same time. Okay, so what is a federal question? Okay, So, did I spell federal wrong? No, I did not. Okay, so the cause of action is expressly created by federal law. So I'm going to say this is what federal question is. And federal law provides for the underlying right. Which means federal law allows you to sue for that, and federal law gives you the right to sue for that. Okay. If a right is created by federal law and a cause of action was intended by Congress, then federal question jurisdiction is likely to be found. So if it's created by fed law and intended by Congress, it is likely to satisfy federal question jurisdiction. Okay. Now, if the action is not expressly or implicitly created by federal law, then federal courts still might have control. Oops. Okay. Oops. So if the state law claim involves, what am I trying to say? State law claim in federal court. If a federal issue, okay, is raised, disputed, substantial, and capable of resolution. Oh, this stinks. I hate comma. Okay. Necessarily raised or and actually disputed, substantial, and capable of resolution in federal court. Okay, I know what this means. I'm just not. It's all the we call them terms of art. You'll hear phrases repeated a lot in law, and those are called like terms of art. So anyway, what I just wrote down, what that means is, you might have heard like state cases people trying to remove them to federal court, and you might wonder like, how can a state law question be in federal court? Well, this is how. If it involves a federal issue in these 4 ways, then it could still stay in federal court. And those 4 ways are: the federal issue needs to be necessarily raised from the state law claim, actually disputed, it needs to be substantial to the state law claim, and it has to be capable of resolution under federal law. Oh, that's not right. Capable of resolution without disrupting the balance between federal and state. And so like when we get a question on the bar exam, like if the person grading, like when we do essays, the person grading this will be like, did they mention necessarily raised, actually disputed, substantial, capable of resolution? would that include idea like disability? Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Any of those like Civil Rights Act, the like anything under the Disabilities Act, um, exactly. That all would go past state law and go straight to federal court. Okay. So let's see what the requirements are for federal question. Federal question. Okay, and JX just means jurisdiction. It's just hard and annoying to type out much. But okay, so you have to have a well-pleaded complaint. And that means that um well, the necessary elements, I guess. We'll just say that. Claim. And a federal law issue must appear on the face of the complaint, which just means it needs to be apparent. Um, okay. Does not, okay. Yeah, I think I'll leave it there. Okay, diversity jurisdiction. This is well, I don't know, the one of the common ways to end up in federal court when you have people who are um, in different states. So diversity. Let me start this over. I'm not loving how this book is set up. This is such an expensive course too. Okay. So comes under Article 3, Section 2. And if you ever see that squiggle sign, that's all that means. It's just section. You see it a lot when you look at laws. So Article 3, Section 2 permits Congress to extend judicial power to controversies between citizens of different states and between a state and other states. Okay. Gives power to federal courts over actions. Okay. So when they're citizens of different states, citizens of a state and okay, I'm just going to put state versus state. I think my book is making it more complicated than it needs to be. So if you have a state versus state actions, yeah. Okay. And the amount in controversy, and that is a term of art, the amount in controversy, is over $75,000. I remember learning this in law school that the $75,000 like requirement, it was set like I don't like in the 70s or something, like a long time ago. So they've like never, or I think they've like maybe upped it once, but like back when they said it, that was like a lot of money. I mean, that is still a lot of money, but I mean, with inflation, it's different now. And there's lots of arguments of whether it should be higher, whether it should be changed. Oh, Dreadful Penny is live. Mari, I don't know if Olaf's here, but I think we're gonna watch Dreadful Penny. I'm gonna hop back on live later. Uh, I think I'll hop back on live later. I'm gonna go watch Dreadful Penny. If you don't know Dreadful Penny, she's a very nice YouTuber, gets good insight on crime things. And as a law student, I love watching as much like trial and crime stuff by osmosis as I can. So I will probably hop back on like in an hour or so, and we will come back to the diversity jurisdiction. Thanks guys for joining. I'll see you later. Bye.